Good evening once again, and welcome to the Ref's Opinion. This is the show where we discuss all things refereeing, past, present, maybe even future, and particularly now with the World Cup at an end, we'll be looking over the games and the incidents and the refereeing performances as well. If you'd like to join in, and you're more than welcome to send in your comments or ask a question, you can do so at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. There's a little thing there that you can make a comment or ask a question, and we'd be delighted to facilitate you and answer it. So I'm delighted to be joined once again by my regular guest and former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former World Cup referee, in fact, and the man responsible for introducing goal line technology. And of course, he was also the head of the PGMOL, who I noticed recently are now rebranding, but the PGMOL stands for Professional Games Match Officials Limited. Keith Hackett. Thanks for joining me, Keith, again.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
So you and I, Keith, have World Cup, what's the word? I can't think of the word. We're just with World Cup matches. It's been great. Have you, by the way, did you stay up to watch any of the late matches, the AM ones?
I did.
Really?
And I think I did an interview at about, with someone, I can't remember who, but about 3 a.m. And I know the following day I had to be up early. So, yeah. Interesting.
That's what they call glutton for punishment, isn't it?
Yeah, I was trying to get a mix of the games and the match officials, and in many instances doing a minute by minute detail account, because one of the things I find that it's easy to cherry pick, and most of us will cherry pick the poor pieces of officiating, those things that are, wow, what's happened here and why has he done that? Whereas I want to have a look at the general movement, positioning of match officials, and look at their level of concentration and, you know, the quality of their communication through hand signals. And, you know, I think I can remember having watched earlier some of the rugby. You know, the All Blacks played this weekend.
Oh, do I know?
And, I thought I'd mention that in passing.
Thanks, Keith. I didn't need reminding now, but thank you.
You know, the game has so much honesty about it. The referees, I can't remember ever seeing a bad referee. Now, yeah, I don't fully understand the laws of the game. What what I know is I understand the game because the referee sells it to me. The actual pundits don't fly off in the handle and take a personal view on things. They actually tell us what their view is, but accurately with a knowledge of law. And I just think football can continue to learn from it. I mean, I've mentioned in the past the communication kits. Yes, I introduced communication kits into refereeing. The idea wasn't new. The idea was already there with rugby. Yeah. And so that was an easy task. I didn't ask FIFA any permissions or IFAB. I just thought this would benefit the game, benefit refereeing. It did. Sadly, you know, even in this World Cup, where a great deal of training has gone into the VAR operators, there's still this dilemma.
I think we've lost transmission. Oh, there, we're back.
Yeah, there's still this dilemma and conversations that you and I have on a regular basis as to what is a clear and obvious error. And it seems to me at times the lever should be one of common sense rather than worrying about, am I coming in, am I not coming in? And I think we've gone, in this World Cup, we were very defensive. I think there were times when I would have liked VAR intervention to help the referee to have a second look. What's wrong in a referee taking time out with all the breaks that we were having, hydration breaks, to take time out and have another look?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let it. You know, I mean, obviously, getting to last night's game, we saw.
Sorry, just before you do that, Keith, can I just come in? You know, in the rugby, there's a yellow card, and then the referee will do this, which means that it could be upgraded to a red.
Yes.
Could that be something maybe introduced into football?
Well, I think this. I think act of simulation, not penalised by the referee, review. Now, if they're worried about it being reviewed, then in my opinion, if that review panel says that is an act of simulation, the game's continued, that player, the referee's informed that that player's got a yellow card. In the same way that he does that, they've got a yellow card, and then an independent guy who's a qualified match official, so it's still within the referees, comes in and says, that's an upgrade to a red.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I just think that, you know, I'm sure there's lots of rugby fans and rugby players and rugby coaches disagree, but ultimately with everything that happens in rugby, but I do think that they've got a solid foundation of a structure that is understandable to the fan, and they keep the fans engaged. I mean, I just think it's. I watch rugby, but I'm more interested in what the referee's saying and doing.
Yeah, likewise.
And I see so much proactive, preventative refereeing, off the ball, talking to players in a respectful manner.
Yeah.
You know, not saying the next time and then not doing anything. Never saying the next time. Saying I want an improvement, you know.
Getting back to last night's game then, Tommy is off the mark very quickly. Thanks, Tommy, for coming into it. I thought the ref was very poor last night. In my opinion, he didn't take control early enough. And then he has in brackets time for a sin bin. Last night's game, and we could discuss it at length because the scenes after the final whistle were just appalling. Appalling. But in his overall performance, the referee, what did you think?
I think if I was marking out a 10, I think a 5. And that might seem harsh, but the reality is that when we coach young referees, we actually say, when you blow that first whistle, you are in control. Do not lose control. And you know that the game and control of the game and authority can be eroded very quickly.
Indeed.
In my opinion, you know, I understand it's a big game, and the referee wants to finish up with 22 players on the field of play. That's a bit of a fallacy. The reality is, in this game, early on, he set the scene. He allowed 2 challenges, both worthy of yellow cards, both reckless in nature, which warranted a yellow card, and his actions didn't meet the criteria of law. And for me, that set himself a dilemma. And he also set, as players will do, both sides, they will say, any sign of weakness in a referee, we're going to take advantage.
Yeah.
We you know, how often do we see referees in the Premier League in England wanting to be pally?
Oh, okay,
you can't, you know, and you lose authority. Because being friendly with one player and I'm the opponent, you go, just a minute, this guy's not neutral. And I just think that there's, with the modern game and how much coverage there is in television and the number of viewing angles achieved, You know, this was a guy who has, you know, he's one of the most experienced referees in world football. And he might have thought to himself, you know, not that I'm bigger than the game, but I've been selected to this big game, so everybody trusts me. Well, every game is a cup final.
Absolutely.
Don't trust the players because they'll take advantage, and they did.
Mm.
And then, of course, we saw a bit later on an exceptional amount of dissent from the player, and the referee rushed straight in, and he gave a yellow card for dissent. What he didn't do was hold his gaze. He allowed that player to drift out of his vision. And as a consequence, he missed that player applauding him.
Yeah.
So where was his assistant referee saying that player has now belittled you by applauding your action of a yellow card? Where was VAR?
Second yellow
Why
card.
didn't VAR come in?
Yeah.
And do the same?
You see, Keith, I wonder how much, to use that common expression, soccer, politics is involved. Why are the referees being influenced by these bloody soccer politicians? Are they telling them, don't go too hard? Oh, we lost you, Keith. I think we've lost you. Yeah, I thought I was losing Keith there for a while. I'm going to continue on. Maybe Keith will come back to me because he does have the link. You see, I believe that there's far too much interference by what I call soccer politicians. These guys, these blazers, or these guys in suits who are interfering with the laws of the game, trying to appease everybody. And we saw that with the FIFA president Infantino appeasing effectively Donald Trump. I think Keith's back now again. Good. We lost you there for a second, Keith.
Yeah.
I was just continuing on that vein about these soccer politicians, these men in suits or blazers. And I've no doubt, I have no evidence, but I have no doubt that they are in there and they're telling the head of referees, which is Colina for FIFA, and they're telling him, to make sure there's not too many red cards. All this nonsense. And the disappointing thing for me with Colina is he was the best referee in the world during his time. And then he's suddenly changed now, and he's gone over to the administration side. And now he's becoming one of these soccer politicians.
Yeah. I mean, I think that when I look at some of the appointments, I'm slightly bemused. I think there's always been politics in world football. I think it's always been there.
Well, it raised its ugly head with this one, Keith.
Yeah, but I think to say to referees, we don't want red cards, or we want to keep the count low, or all those sort of things. You say, well, yeah, that is what you want to achieve, but you achieve that through proactive refereeing and applying the laws of the game. And I think that the reason I marked the referee down was that immediately he doesn't issue a couple of yellow cards in those opening stages. He's now can be accused of being inconsistent because later in the game he did issue yellow cards.
Yeah.
And that player who was applauding, the point I was trying to make was, where was VAR? Where were the assistant? Are they no longer allowed to communicate with the referee? That's what they've got earpieces for, to actually say to the referee, there's an added problem here. The player that you've just yellow carded is applauding you.
Sarcastically, of course.
Yeah. And so, I mean, later on, I've heard people argue that the second yellow card wasn't warranted. I remind people that that challenge was reckless.
Absolutely.
Don't hide behind it. That's a reckless challenge. It fulfills the law. It gets a second yellow, and that, frankly, that action, the referee's got no alternative other than to issue that second yellow, and off the player goes.
Now, you see what you mentioned there, Keith, no alternative. And do the referees, well, it is a bit of a rhetorical question, do the referees wait until it gets that far till they say, well, I had no alternative but to issue a second yellow card? Instead of saying it's not that I have no alternative, it is a yellow card. The fact that the guy has one already is not my problem. He got it. So he now commits a second yellow card offense. And I think a lot of players are hiding behind that. The fact that they've gotten a yellow card and they think that, oh, well, I've got one now. The referee's not going to send me off. It's a major game, not necessarily a World Cup final or an FA Cup final or a major match. The fact that they've got a yellow card, they think the referee will be easy. And sometimes the fouls, I'm sure you've seen them, are worse the second time than for what they were yellow carded for in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing that was very noticeable, I think there were two things that stood out for me. One, there was a lack of the use of the captain in the tournament as a whole. I suspect that Kalina didn't want that communication with the captain and the referee on the field of play. It does work. It is preventative. It's a conduit between the referee and the remainder of his team. Yes, he has no authority in law other than to suggest which direction he wants to kick off or all those sort of things. But the captains weren't used. And the other point was, and I don't want to focus just on Argentina, they weren't the only team. What was very noticeable was, in this game, if there was a challenge that merited possible intervention by VAR, the referee was automatically surrounded by a minimum of 4 players of that team. And I'm going, where and what advice has the referees received? And are they doing a post-match report that say, where in the English Premier League, if there's 3 or more players, that's a special report. And we see often when that happens, the team is charged with failing to control their players, and a substantial fine is imposed.
Yeah,
I just think that FIFA lost the degree of authority in this World Cup through its referees. And when we look at the referees, there were some referees not used that much who are world class. I suppose we'll always make that view. But I do think that some of the refereeing was not what I expected.
Yeah. You're watching The Ref's Opinion. We go live every Monday night, 8 o'clock on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, you're more than welcome to do so. On the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side of your screen, there's a little place for you there to make your comment, and we'd welcome your comments and questions. Another comment here from Tommy. Tommy's a regular contributor to the show. He says, for a world final, the players, and in particular Argentina, showed a total lack of respect for the game by their actions, both during the game and after. There needs to be a precedent set for players playing. We are paying to watch. Riddle me this, and not sure what that means.
Yeah. I mean, before I get into that, I also want to mention, it was mentioned there, the possibility of introducing a sin bin.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that sin bin at grassroots level has worked as a deterrent and works as a sanction, because it imposes an immediate reduction in the team numbers for a period of time, and it becomes not just an individual sanction, it becomes a team punishment. And therefore, that's what I like about the sin bin and the possible introduction of the sin bin into the senior competitions. But the reality is, there's no sort of feeling coming out of the IFAB or FIFA that they want to move in that direction. But I think
just on that sin bin, how long is the sin bin for?
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes. Wow.
Yes. Okay. And the player receives a yellow card.
As well. Oh.
So it's a yellow card and then you're off the field for 10 minutes. And it works extremely well. I think there are times when it only has one area of operation, and that is for dissent. And so where a player dissents with a referee, there are times when I think referees miss that opportunity of putting it into use. But when it is used, I think it's a benefit to the match official.
So to the end of the game, Keith, I mean, there could have been a couple of red cards at the final whistle. Easily a couple of red cards.
I'm led to believe
that you can't issue red cards. Absolutely you can. When the game is over, you can. And even before the game starts, you can give a red card. But do you think the referee was lenient there at the end by not?
Well, I was informed this morning, but I've not had it confirmed, that the referee, in fact, post-match did issue a red card to the player that took a bit of a swing in the throat of the opponent.
5, I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm led to believe by one media outlet that he did get a red card. If that's the case, then so be it. But I think the scenes at the end of the match showed a total disrespect for the game. I think the other thing was, I know in the journalist hall where normally the players walk through a room and the journalists will ask questions and they're usually answered. I understand the Argentine team just passed them by and didn't answer a question. I think FIFA have got to examine that particular game because I think it tarnished the image of a great competition. I don't mind the tactics of trying to defend as a team on field, providing what they do is within the laws of the game. And what they were doing was not within the laws of the game. And certainly at the end of the match, the scenes were appalling. But I think there's a number of areas. I mean, I look at the I've mentioned before, the goal celebration. We know why that is in, that, we look at the substitutes and members of the technical areas coming onto the pitch to celebrate a goal. And then in the previous game against England, we saw Argentina pull out and unfurl a flag that had political scenarios on it, and they're just ignoring it. And I'm saying, well, they can't do that. Does that mean that the referee, the next time someone lifts his shirt and has got a political statement on his undergarment, you, Mr. FIFA, who write the laws with the IFAB, that's what you want the referee to do? Are you now saying that law doesn't apply? I mean, I just think this World Cup is damaging to how the laws of the game are applied. I'm not a prude, and there's flexibility. I understand the big game and I understand the technical competence of the referee.
And what they did actually, Keith, with that flag, it was all about the Falkland Islands. If somebody in the crowd had it near the goal, and one of the players went and took it from the fan or the supporter and brought it onto the field. Now, if he'd left it on in with the crowd, well, that's that. But the fact that he took it on to the field meant the players were just appalling behavior, you know,
Yeah.
and then the whole involvement with President Trump and Gianni Infantino and oh goodness, the USA red card, Keith. There's been further developments in that, has there?
Yes, there has. I mean, look, this
Or the
created
non-red card, actually.
this was Balogun, who was correctly red carded
Yeah,
and had his red card deferred, and that is wrong. I mean, and you know, enough's been said on that. I think there are people right around the world connected with high level in football that have expressed their concerns about that. The further revelation that I read, and it was in the Times newspaper, they don't publish things that aren't
No.
factual.
Yeah,
So it comes to pass that Mohammed Al Kamali, United Arab Emirates, is the chairman of the FIFA disciplinary committee. And he alone, the other 19 members were not consulted. He alone was the person representing the disciplinary panel that decided to defer that red card. I mean, I think that, you know, who's going to sanction FIFA here? I mean, I think that the next IFAB meeting should be quite an interesting one.
indeed. Because, you know, if he didn't even consult his committee and made that decision on his own, that would suggest that somebody got to him and told him to do it. And so then what does the other members of the committee do? Unless they're just happy wearing their blazers and taking their perks and keep their mouth shut. And that would appear to be the case. But then when you have Infantino cohorting with the US president to have a red card delayed or deferred, well, there's political interference again. So the whole thing, I think, is becoming a shambles, a total, absolute shambles.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that, you know, what we also saw, funnily enough, we saw Rice, the England skipper, talking to someone with his hand over his mouth. No action taken. Let me put balance here.
Yeah.
Now, I think what is interesting is two things. UEFA have made it very clear that a player putting his hand over his mouth will not be an offence. They will not expect their referees to issue a sanction for that. And the second point is, if you remember, we had that debate about the player receiving a yellow card and then mistaken identity coming in and the interpretation of law. Again, my understanding is that UEFA will not allow the misunderstanding VAR protocol to change. They will not expect the VAR protocol on a yellow card to be involved. So it'd be quite interesting over the coming days to see exactly, and I'll do the research to see exactly what UEFA have said. I've seen that on social media. I always take social media at times with a pinch of salt. I'm always mindful that it could be an avatar that's doing the writing and composing, but it's me here and I'm expressing my opinion.
Does not make a nonsense of what we're always looking for, which is consistency.
Yeah.
So you have one confederation saying, no, we're not doing it, and another will. And the big complaint from spectators and fans is that there is no consistency among the referees.
No.
And the referees are just like policemen. They have to do what the politicians tell them. But if one group are telling them do this and the other group are telling to do that, how in heaven's name are you going to get consistency?
Well, you don't. I mean, in fairness, I think this is, you know, this is what we've seen in the English Premier League. You know, the reason I jump up and down and get so frustrated is that many of those referees, I track their development when they're at grassroots and coming through the competition. I know that we've got some exceptional talent, and that exceptional talent's not being directed and given the leadership it requires. I think it's interesting that, I pointed out a couple of 3 years ago that Sam Barrett was an exceptional referee, a younger man coming through. He got the final of the UEFA, I think, under-19s, which is remarkable in itself. It's such a relatively young age. And now he's got the Community Shield. And I think that these younger referees should, and as in fairness to the PGMOL, they've given this guy a bit of a lead. They've appointed him to some big games. He's delivered. And I think, when you see the Spanish player Yamal, who's a youngster, playing against his hero Messi, and then you see the photographs of Messi in an advert bathing Yamal when he was a youngster. I mean, it's quite remarkable football, isn't it? We've all got passion, and we all want refereeing to do well. We criticise referees. I hope that we criticise for the benefit of the game, and others listening in can listen to our views so they can either disagree with us or they can actually use it as a learning curve going forward.
Keith, again, my goodness, I had so many other things on my agenda and we're not going to get to them because we're way over the time now. But thanks very much again, Keith, for all your efforts during the season. We're going to take a break for you people out there watching. We're going to take a break because there is no football effectively now until the start of the Premier League, which kicks off on the 21st of August, which is a Friday night, and that's Arsenal against Coventry. And we'll be on air the following Monday, which is the 24th. And at that stage, then we'll have had almost a full fixture list of matches, 24th of August. So until then, thank you very much, Keith, for joining me. I really, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I hope I'll see you again in August, please, God. And for you people out there for contributing to the show and watching, and even though you haven't contributed, thank you also very, very much. Until the new season, we go live again on the 24th of August, which is about a month's time. Until then, thank you very much and good night and God bless.
Good night, everybody.